Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm your host, Brian, joined with the other host,
Karen.
I couldn't remember if we did that part or not for some reason. We've done this intro 3 times because we've been fucking it up and whatnot. So here we are. Time to start the episode, which is all about AC/DC and the Pretty Reckless.
Yes.
The show we saw on Saturday, May 24th at Soldier Field.
Yes, and when we talk about the weather, it was in May.
It was the end of May. Yes. It was Memorial Day weekend, the beginning of summer, keep in mind.
Yeah. Anyways, there'll be a lot about that.
Yeah. Getting into the numbers real quick, we have the pricing. $100 a ticket is what we paid.
Not bad.
No, not at all, which was in the 400 section.
It was.
Right about the 50-yard line if there was a football game at the 400 section. A pretty decent view of the stage.
I was going to talk about that. I know you're in the middle of your numbers, but we'll talk about it now because you brought it up.
Well, let's finish the numbers real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, $100 for the ticket price, $33.31 in fees, and then tax, of course, of $13.09. Okay, let's get into the seats, I guess.
So at first, we thought that we were almost in the same seats that we saw Rolling Stones back in 2019.
Yes.
But turns out that those were actually like the upper level of the 300s, kind of at the
think
back.
So, yeah.
Because I remember being on the other side of the lake side of the stadium, and we were all the way against the wall and kind of in the back or the long end of the stadium, the end zone.
Yes.
Yeah. So this time though, being in the 400 section, I was like, it'll be fine. We'll be there. It doesn't really matter, sort of thing. But being on the 50-yard line, we were in section
438.
438. We were in row 5, so that might make a difference too. Like if you're at a higher row, maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah.
But we had a very, very good view of the stage. Yep. Like we were kind of like right above it with an angle down. Not right above it, but we were
off to the side a bit.
Yeah, off to the side, but we were above everybody with an angle down.
Yeah, we were behind the GA pit, and we were by where the seats were, like in the middle of where all those were. So maybe 2 or 3 rows after. I don't know exactly. Like you're up high and at an angle and whatnot, so it's kind of hard to tell. But also, like with Soldier Field, if you haven't been there before, the 400 section doesn't wrap all the way around like some venues typically do. On the other side of the field, where the 400 section would be, that's where they have like their luxury boxes and whatnot. So yeah, when we were there for the Rolling Stones, we were backs up against that wall that sort of led up
where
to
the boxes were.
Those boxes.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is if you're looking for cheaper tickets at Soldier Field, the 400 section, about 50-yard line, maybe a little bit further down than the 50-yard line would probably be fine as well. I wouldn't necessarily go all the way in the back or all the way closer to the field. But like that corner closer to the field would suck.
Yeah.
Because then you're like really on the side of the stage.
On either left side, stage right or stage left, And
then just knowing from me seeing Disturbed in the back of United Center, that sucked really bad. But Disturbed didn't have screens. AC/DC did have screens.
Oh, they didn't have screens. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So that could make a difference as well. But in my mind, if you're in the 400 section all the way at the top, oh, you can't even see my hand on YouTube, but all the way in that top corner, that probably wouldn't be the best either.
Probably not. And like you said, they had screens. I did, even though we had a decent view of the stage, I did find myself watching the stage, or not the stage, the screens more than the stage, I felt like, for both bands.
Yeah, I did a lot, but then like when they would walk out, I don't know their names, sorry.
Out into like the catwalk area thing?
Yeah. What are their names?
The 2 main ones that were walking out on that catwalk were Angus Young and Brian Johnson.
Yeah. So when they would walk out, like I caught myself watching more of them on stage, but then I was looking at the screen a lot as well.
Yeah, like I said, more times than not, I was watching the screen, but I was watching them on stage as well. And we got another show, at least one show at Soldier, and I think we're like straight back in the seats, but like the 100 section. For Rammstein, we were in the 100 section, but I think roughly about the 50-yard line again.
And the one,
and that wasn't horrible either.
No,
they had screens too.
Yeah, but thinking about it now, to be able to see like all the fire and everything, 400 section probably would have been pretty good.
Actually, yeah, that would have been pretty cool up there.
Because that was one thing that I noticed is we were mostly angled towards the stage. And so when they would do like the fireballs going back and forth and stuff, like I wasn't catching it because I was looking at the stage. And
then we also have a couple at the United Center coming up this year. And I don't know where we're sitting for those, but we do have seats as well. I think one's going to be in like the 100 section and one's going to be up at like the 300 section. Because I don't know if United has a 400 section.
No, they don't. 300 is the highest.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how those ones go. Typically, we don't like being in the seats, but we did go with my family this time. My dad and stepmom were in town to go to the show. So that was really fun to see. A few years ago, we went to a show with my mom and uncle in Nashville, Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks. And that was a blast to go with them as well. So this is my first concert, any concert really, going with my dad.
Oh, really? You've never been to a concert with him before?
Never. If you ask him, he might tell you that he took me to my first concert, which I'm going to say no. Like, it was at the Iowa State Fair.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the free stage. So already those don't really count as like real concerts.
Yeah.
And it was the Village People. So like also not a real fucking band. So
I mean, that's like me. So I say Disturbed was my first concert, but I went to a lot of gospel concerts when I was a kid. I just don't consider those concerts.
Right. Yeah.
They're kind of like church services.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. So anywho, depending on how you do your counting and whatnot, your bean counting and all that, this is, in my opinion, the first time I saw a concert with my dad. So we'll get into some of the memories, I guess, there when we get into the AC/DC bit. Yeah. A little bit. I don't know where this whole conversation was going.
Oh, we talked about the numbers. We talked about our seats.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Because that was the thing. Typically, we like to get like the GA. And GA for this, if I remember correctly, we're about $225 a ticket.
Not bad.
Not bad at all, really. Yeah. Like, again, we have a couple of big shows coming up. And
well, even compared to like Rammstein, which we got in 2019 for their 2020 tour. We didn't see them until 2023, 2022.
Something like that. Yeah.
I can't remember what year they actually came, but I mean, those tickets for the Führer Zone and even just the GA were expensive. Yeah.
Like the Führer Zone, which was that premium VIP sort of GA, that front row GA, which I've talked about that. I fucking hate that setup. I think those were like 500 if I remember correctly.
I was gonna say 600,
and then about 200 or so for the regular, the peasant GA.
The peasant GA.
I fucking hate that so much. If it's GA, just open it up to everyone. Don't do this fucking you pay more, you get here, or do what Metallica does and you get like the unique Snake Pit experience type thing.
Yeah.
Because Metallica basically does that for their tickets with the Snake Pit. But it doesn't feel like that, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way the stage is set up and everything. Yeah. But also for here, the stage was also pretty massive. I do remember that about the stage with that little catwalk thing. And you can definitely see there was a thing at the end of the catwalk that was going to rise up or do something. And it did at the end of the night. We'll talk about that when we get to the performances and whatnot. Other things real quick about the stage setup. The pit was very small.
It was, yeah.
And there was actually quite a bit of room in sections of it.
So I noticed it. So it kind of came off like to the sides plus out in the back. I don't even know how I'm doing that. Like this and then like this.
Yeah, it had that catwalk thing in the middle, and there was just a barrier that mimicked that catwalk sort of structure.
I don't know if it was everybody kind of filled in on the sides and then got stuck at those corners because
on stage left, stage right, and then go around to the center of the catwalk.
They didn't go to the center, especially later in the night, or if they were like, "Oh, I can see better from here," or what the case is, but. Yeah, especially the back of that square area was empty.
And we had that same experience with Disturbed, where if you're not going to utilize that catwalk that often, there's kind of, you're not going to really see much from the stage presence, right? Yeah. So, and the AC/DC, I felt used it a little bit. They didn't use it to its full extent. I could have easily seen that catwalk thing just being, don't do this. Yeah. Like, why do you need this type thing?
Yeah, just have a straight across stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of bands, you have like catwalks or stuff like that, and it's like, I'm kind of with you. It's like, what's the point?
Right, unless you're going to use it heavily or make some sort of, big presence with that, go ahead and do that, but not here. I guess we've been talking a lot about the concert, but there were a few things we did before the concert we should quickly touch on as well. One was the pop-up shop. We did go to that. We went, it was at the House of Blues here in Chicago, and we went, it opened Friday from like noon to sometime. I can't remember what time.
I don't remember the closing time. We went about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we got there about 5 or so, Well, was it?
4?
We left at 4, our house. Maybe it was about 4:30 or so. Okay. But somewhere in there, 4 to 5, doesn't really matter on exactly what time. And we were not easy to get in, but we were there for like 40 minutes in line before we finally got in to buy our poster that we wanted.
Yeah, our spot in line was in the front of
in the front of House of Blues. Yeah. And like I said, about a 40-minute wait to get in.
But that was like to completely get in, not to get in the door, but it was completely to get into the room.
Because you go in through the doors, you go in through the restaurant, and there's sort of like a little area of the restaurant they had blocked off only for the merch to be there. You did like a reel and put that on Instagram and our YouTube channel. Maybe we'll link that here or something. Maybe not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of cool. We got the poster. I didn't really want a whole lot more. I got the city unique poster. They still had quite a few left. We got like number 633 out of 8 and change, which we were kind of like shocked that it was so low.
Yeah, I was surprised that they even still had them because like we do Metallica posters and so do a lot of people, obviously. But like you have to be there hours before the door opens to get a poster. And so I was kind of thinking that this night on Friday night, since we got there so late, I was like, they won't have any posters left.
Yeah. And honestly, by the time we got there, I was kind of expecting it to be sort of like Metallica is sometimes, where you show up late to the pop-up shop and it's just walk right in. Because if you're there early, sure enough, you're going to be in line. If you show up later in the day, depending on where you're at in the city and whatnot, you can sometimes just walk straight right in.
Yeah, we did that with
Detroit, I think.
Yeah, because we got there the day it opened, but we didn't get to Detroit until, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something.
Yeah, and I think Chicago, you walked by one day after work or something, and it was sort of just walk right in as well, wasn't it?
Yes, I did go. Was that after work?
Was it after work, during your lunch or something?
Maybe. I can't remember.
But there was one time you walked by.
I went by twice, and once when they were setting up, and then once after, and we just walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of half expecting that here, but no, there was a line. Whatever. My dad and stepmom come into town. We meet them for dinner. We hang out for a bit. The next day, Saturday, before the show, we get up. They wanted to go check out the pop-up shop as well. And because there was a line, I was still sort of expecting it to be nobody in line. Turns out the line wrapped down around the building behind House of Blues just before you cross, like as you cross over the bridge as you're walking north. That's where we sort of got in line.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of where you normally stand to get into a concert.
Depending on how long it is. Yeah, for sure. We've stood right there for a concert.
We have, yeah. Multiple times. However, the entrance was the main front door.
Yep.
Not that side door. Not that side door. Concert, so.
And
because Saturday, they were doing trap bingo.
Trap bingo, yeah.
Which we had to look up what trap was.
I thought it was EDM. I think there's probably still a
hip-hop type
version
music.
of trap, but yeah, it was. This one was hip hop for sure. Yeah. So people kept going through our line to get in there, and they're also like in the back of our line, like, "Is this where I go for this?" And like, no, you're in the wrong
like,
line.
"What's this line for?" Because I'm sure that they're used to just walking right in for the bingo, and we're like, "Oh, for AC/DC merch," and they're like, "Nope."
And also that Friday, people were like thinking that was the line to go to the restaurant because they had reservations, and we're like, "No, you can just cut right through us."
Exactly.
So that happened a couple of times Friday, but the restaurant wasn't opened this day.
Yeah. I wonder in other cities, I haven't looked up, but I wonder in other cities where they did the pop-up shop.
Yeah,
it
I don't know.
It's kind of weird to use House of Blues.
I felt like it was weird too.
But it's probably a lot cheaper to use House of Blues than using like Metallica did, where they rented out an entire storefront.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
In any case, though, Saturday we were in line for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
An hour and a half to 2 hours.
Hour and a half to 2 hours, probably. I kind of stopped looking once we got through the doors. So, I mean, you probably have another 20 minutes once you get through the door. I felt like it was moving faster, though, than on Friday.
I see. I did. Like, the line was definitely longer, but it did feel like it had moved faster, for sure. Yeah,
but it could also be we were with other people, so we were talking.
That could be, yeah.
I mean, not that you and I don't talk, because we do talk, but, when you're with other people.
It's a different kind of conversation that you have. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what do we talk about? We've seen each other 24 hours a day for the last 5 years, so.
Yeah. In any case, I did hear somebody say the city posters were gone. I don't know if they only had them at the pop-up shop or if they had them at the show also. I did see people walking around with rolled up posters and whatnot. I didn't ask. I didn't see any of the city posters at the venue, but also we showed up not on time. We showed up on time, but not at doors.
Right.
About an hour or so after doors.
But I guess I'd keep comparing it to Metallica because that's what we know the most for posters. And their pop-up poster was different than the show poster. So.
Yes, this had a tour poster plus a city-specific poster. Metallica has, city-specific show posters and then a pop-up poster as well.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't, at the pop-up shop, we didn't buy any merch.
Other than the poster.
And then also like when your dad and stepmom went in, we went and sat by the bar because we had already been in. So they were counting people. So we didn't want to take up, space.
Yeah. And I think each pop-up shop has specially drinks made for the pop-up shop
really?
as well. I took a look at a couple and I wasn't like, oh my God, this sounds amazing.
Were they doing that at the bar?
They were, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I took a quick glance. I can't remember what they were. I just ended up getting a beer and hanging out. I think some of them, I don't know if they're different at every location or not. The first one I saw, I think, was in Houston or somewhere in Texas. They were at for like one of the first shows, and somebody posted on like Reddit what the venue, like the pop-up venue looked like, and it looks really fucking cool. Really? I wish ours was more sort of like, it seemed more loungy, like you can just sort of hang out and whatnot. Yeah. This felt very weird, especially with the restaurant on Friday night with just regular patrons coming in.
Yeah, like people were actually eating at the restaurant, and then here's all of us
walking in. So I don't know. Again, I think it would have been better if it was at a different location than House of Blues, but it still worked. The buying merch at the pop-up was sort of a little chaotic as well.
Yeah, because you kind of go into the room, and then it's kind of like a free-for-all, like where you stand or where you...
Yeah, and it's also like around. A normal merch where you you tell them behind the counter what you want.
Yes, yeah.
Where Metallica, there were a few things behind the counter, like the posters and a few like the collectible items that you had to like tell them. Otherwise, you just walk around like as a convenience store or like a store, right?
Like a clothing store, yeah.
And like I liked that experience better. You just walk in and you find the shirt you want and all of that. That's true.
I forgot about that. Like Metallica is like you're shopping at a store, and this is definitely like a merch table.
Yes, exactly.
Or merch stand. I didn't like the not chaotic aspect of it, but like you could walk all the way to you walked all the way to the end and got helped like right away. I was kind of staying in that line.
There was no like queue once you got in. It was just sort of find somebody who's open to take your money and give them your money basically. Yeah.
And the people I happened to get behind were the type of people who buy merch of like, oh, I want this one. And then once they bring that back, it's like, oh, I want this one.
Yeah.
And, sorry, that drives us nuts because they did have menus. We called them menus. Everybody was calling them menus. But basically it was printed off like pictures of all the items.
Yep.
Obviously you don't have like the show specific poster. It just said like show specific or city specific or whatever.
City poster.
But yeah, so like they had that with all the prices on it. And like we were all, even on Saturday, we were passing it back in line.
Yep.
So people can take a look before they even get inside, sort of thing.
The other comment I have about the pop-up sort of store is it was sort of advertised as we will have props from past tours and other cool things that you can look at and whatnot. So I expected a very large, really cool experience, like going through a museum of props and shit.
Like a museum before you got into it?
Or just somewhere at part of it, right? Yeah. So they did have a prop. They had a cannon from the 1990, 1988 tour or something.
1988, yeah.
And that was kind of cool to see. And they had like the touring case that I think it broke down and went into, right? Obviously, because you're going to have to load that somewhere. Might as well throw that out there for people to see as well. But other than that, there really wasn't any props. They had like the lightning bolts or something here or there. I think
that's just for the Power Up
I think so
festival.
Too.
I'm saying festival tour, the Power Up tour.
Yeah, I think so too.
Have you? I didn't look, but have you seen pictures of other pop-up shops? Like if they had other
memorabilia
or anything? I just wonder if other shops that had more room maybe had more things, and we just happened to. It was at the House of Blues, so there wasn't much room.
So I don't know. That was one complaint. I wanted a lot more of that. But it was just the one cannon. So again, it was cool. I wanted more, I guess. Yeah. But whatever.
And if you're a huge AC/DC fan, which we really aren't, like just seeing the cannon would be really special.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Just seeing that one thing.
Yeah.
Like if we went to a Metallica pop-up and they had Lady Liberty there, right?
Or a Rammstein. I'm thinking Rammstein. Like if we would go and see the kettle or something, I'd be like, oh my God, like it's here.
Exactly.
Like, something like that, like.
So maybe, depending on what your fan level is, for sure that can be.
Yeah. Or if you went to the 1988 tour and you saw that. Something also different that we did for this tour is, even though it's at Soldier and we live fairly close to Soldier, we've talked about that on other podcasts, the family, your dad and your stepmom were staying at the Hilton down by McCormick.
Yeah.
And just for ease of getting over and not have to walk over and walk back, we decided to use the Reggie's bus. Yeah,
and you had that idea the night before when we were at dinner. We were trying to like discuss how we're going to get there, what time we need to leave.
Yeah.
We were going to try and meet at our place and grill out beforehand and whatnot. And I guess that's one thing that happened. Like it took a while to go through the pop-up shop. And then we also had to go to Macy's and buy coats because they didn't bring winter coats because it's fucking winter time now here in summer.
So they needed some warmer clothes to see the show up with.
Yeah. And by the time of that, like we're not going to get dinner. Like we're not going to have time to grill out. Let's grab a snack downtown. Let's head back. You guys can go back to your hotel, freshen up. We'll go home for a bit, and then we'll meet at Reggie's. And like, I was like, holy shit, that's a great idea. I never thought about doing that because I never think about taking Reggie's to Soldier, but they go to Soldier all the time.
Yeah. Well, for us, it's a little bit different because we have to walk south to get on the bus when going to Soldier is just like kind of straight.
So
it's, for us, it's a little bit different than for them. Like we ended up, I mean, they are, the Hilton's pretty close. I mean, it's like 4 blocks away.
Not even, I would say like 2 to 3,
Yeah.
Also, it's a free bus.
It is,
so
yeah.
And again, they go there all the time. Like, I just don't do it because it doesn't necessarily make sense. There's a show at Reggie's later this year. I'm going to be at Soldier for like, I think like a soccer game or something, or some sports ball game. And I'm like, fuck it. There's a show that same night at Reggie's. I'll just hop on the Reggie's bus back and then see if the show's still going on after that sports ball, and then pop in for that.
Tickets,
So I'm excited for that day, actually. That's going to be fun.
To see how that works out for you.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I mean, you got beers before going on the Reggie's bus. And
you can drink beers on the Reggie's bus.
They let you take the beers on the bus.
They encourage you to drink beers on the Reggie's bus.
Which makes sense because they're like, oh, if we get people to buy 2 or 3 beers, like say you buy 2 before going and then 1 for the bus, they're making their money.
Oh, for sure.
To drive,
And then also, if you are going to take the Reggie's bus, make sure you tip your driver afterwards.
Yes, of course.
Like we threw about $5 each in. Thanks for the ride. Hop off. On the way back, same thing. Like even when I do take the Reggie's bus to other events, that's great. And we've used this service before in the past because they always seem like they go to United Center, to Douglas Park for Riot Fest. Even when Riot Fest was going to move out to Bridgeview, they were going to do that. When there's soccer games and football games out in Bridgeview, they take the bus out there as well. So
I think they go to Indiana for some things. I don't know.
Oh, they have. I forgot about that.
I don't know what it was, but I remember seeing like, do they go to the casino for shows?
They might.
I can't remember. We haven't utilized
They've
it for
used
that.
Northerly Island they go to as well. So like, it's a really, really good service. If you're in the area or even gonna like, even if you're on the train, like the red line and the green line let off really, really close there. Like Chinatown and Cermak. Chinatown for red line, Cermak for green line. It's easy. It's a quick walk, and then hop into Reggie's is an iconic sort of Chicago venue and bar. So definitely worth the time to go and check it out. And when you get back, there's probably live music because there's like live music every fucking day there.
Yeah, and it's fun to go with all the people on the bus as well.
I will say this. I don't think I've ever seen this many people, the times I've ridden the bus, to use this bus. Yeah. They were taking trip after trip after trip. Like there were so many fuckers using this bus.
At least 7 before we got on. Yeah. The only downside I have to say, and it's both times I've rode it, I know you've rode it more, is you are on old school buses.
Oh, that's the plus side for me. I love that shit.
It is fun, but those seats are not comfortable.
Oh, no.
Whatsoever.
They're not, but it's fun.
And we ended up all 4 of us ended up sitting in a seat coming back, and the seats are kind of front and back, so like you're facing each other, which is okay, except for your legs are really long. And so my legs had to go in between your legs, and that would be very awkward.
No, sure.
If you weren't a couple.
Sure. But I love it. It's a party atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. It's uncomfortable. You're barely on there. If you're going out to Bridgeview, that's a bit longer.
Yeah. No, it is fine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a few, it's grungy. How about that?
For you, there's a few things you don't like. Me, I love every aspect of it.
Okay. The drivers are funny too.
Yeah.
Because they're like, where we drop you off is where we're going to pick you up.
Yep.
We can't explain it any other way. Just fucking be there.
Yeah. I guess moving on to the show, that's about it for the show. So doors for this, I think, were 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Show at 8 o'clock was what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's pretty long, a 2-hour like door entry time.
But if you think of the size of Soldier Field, maybe they think that they need that 2 hours to get everybody in.
I don't know.
And also, it's 2 hours of people buying food and beer and
everything. I definitely see that aspect of it for sure. So in any case, we show up, like I said, about 7:30 or so. No, it was about 7:30. It was about 7.
Yeah, it was probably about 7 when we got on the bus, so maybe 7:10.
Yeah, somewhere in there. It wasn't that long of a ride over. No. Quickly went through security, usually a pretty quick security process to get in. Yeah. Depending on where you go, it's going to be the one scanners where you throw your shit in like the little trough things and pick it up once you go through the metal detectors. Other ones are ones where you just walk straight through. So I don't think they've upgraded all of their security to those walk straight through ones, but pretty quick security entry aspect of things.
Yeah.
scan your ticket like normal, all that fun shit. We were upstairs, so we started climbing, making the climb up to the 400 section.
It is a ramp. Like, you can take a ramp up. It's not like you're climbing the stairs.
There's stairs or a ramp.
Yes.
Yeah, we did the ramp. The stairs are definitely much quicker. The ramp is definitely zigzaggy.
It is. Yeah, it seemed like it took forever to get up there.
But that's like ADA, I think. So like.
Oh yeah.
And there's also not escalators, elevators. I'm sure somewhere buried in there. I would assume so. I didn't
know if there would be with the ramp, like, or if that's considered.
I bet there's an elevator somewhere.
Maybe. Yeah.
If you not desperately need it, but if you're like in a wheelchair and say, hey, do you have an elevator? I'm sure they'd easily take you over to an elevator, but I don't know 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, found our seats, and a little bit before, about 7:50 or so, before the scheduled start time, Pretty Reckless comes out and starts playing. So why don't you read off their set list for us?
They started with Death by Rock and Roll, Since You're Gone, Follow Me Down, Only Love Can Save Me Now, Witches Burn, Make Me Want to Die, Going to Hell, Heaven Knows, and they ended with Take Me Down. Oh, so they have Follow Me Down and Take Me Down.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was putting them on the set list. So other than the two songs ending with Me Down, what were your thoughts on the Pretty Reckless?
I don't know. It was just rock music with a female vocalist.
Yeah, we've heard these guys a lot on the radio when we go back home.
I was wondering how, like, because a lot of the songs sounded so familiar.
Death by Rock and Roll, Heaven Knows, Take Me Down. Follow Me Down was a song when it started playing. I was like, I've heard this song or this sort of type of
like
song.
The beat, yeah.
The beat and like the whole concept of Take Me Down to the River basically is what it was. Yeah. And I think this is the song as well where it starts with like moaning and you're like, is this the moancore? Which I've never heard of.
Yeah, so there's like a genre of metal now that's called moancore. And like, you know, like the core bands that are like arf arf or blah.
Yeah.
Like that part is a female moaning.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I hate the dog bark. I hate that so much.
but the female moaning, you're all over that.
No, it'd get old super quick, but it's more enjoyable than a fucking ruff, ruff. Like,
no, but you have different barks. You have arf, arf. And then you have arf, arf.
Yeah, I fucking hate that song. We're going to see Kubla Khan later this year, and oh my God, they fucking do that a lot. Or at least the time we saw them live, they did a lot, like back to back to back, I think.
It was.
And I was like, God damn, for real? Like,
yeah. And we're going to be on the boat with them.
So, anywho, getting back to the song, Follow Me Down, I think Dorothy had a song very similar to that. And I was like, Dorothy has a song like this. I feel like there's another band that had a song like that as well. So it seems like a really reused sort of topic or thought or
it's a
sort of verse.
In a way. Yeah. And I think that's the song that I even started looking at our schedules over the last couple of years because I'm like, we have seen this band before.
We have never seen this band before.
I know. And that's when you said, like, I think you're thinking of Dorothy. And I'm like, yes, you are right. Because in my mind, I was like, no, we were at Fiserv in Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah, like, that was definitely Dorothy then.
I was trying to put it all together. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just that cookie cutter rock song that many bands use that same beat, same cadence, same everything. And I'm not calling them a cookie cutter band. I'm just saying, like, that song.
I mean,
but to even some extent, Take Me Down is almost the same as Follow Me Down from a cadence standpoint.
To some extent, I do kind of see them as a cookie cutter. It's a generic rock band, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've heard this music 100 times, right? Like, not every rock band, but there's a lot of rock bands out there that sound like this. And again, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I talk about like radio metal with Shine Down, 3 Days Grace, Pop Evil. Like, I like those bands. They have a very pop metal, radio metal sort of sound to them, and they all sound very similar, and they're all sort of cookie cutter to some extent. I really enjoy those. This is the same thing. It's just cookie cutter rock, like radio rock, right? Yeah. Like, there's nothing unique or new about this. I don't feel like it's just you've heard this rock music before.
Yeah. It is very singable as well if you know the words. Yeah. So I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards something like this. Yeah. Because if you know the band and you know the words, it's very singable.
Yeah. So by the end of it, I wasn't necessarily bored with it, but I was a little bored with it.
Yeah, I definitely saw it as the opening band, and I think after a few songs, I was kind of in the same boat of like, okay, like, yeah, it's the starting band when people are filling in their seats, not necessarily like other, I mean, a lot of concerts are that way where people are filling in when it opens. But to us, a lot of openers are, I'm here to see the openers, or I'm here to see some new music.
Yeah.
And this one just didn't catch us.
I will say that the singer Taylor Momsen, I think I'm saying that right. I don't know if I am or not, but I think she did a really good job sort of working the stage and doing a really good performance.
Yeah.
There were bits of it that I was like, that's a little, not much, but I was like, that's a choice, that whatever. Like sort of like the dancing or like the striptease type stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like, sure, you're a skinny blonde.
Wearing a nightie.
Wearing a nightie, like
when
cool.
It's
you're
40 degrees out.
Well, she did slowly strip down. Like she had a leather jacket on, which then revealed the Chicago jersey.
Yeah, okay.
And then that came off to the nightie thing, and then like the stripping, sort of like sexual sort of dancing and whatnot. And like in the back of my head, I'm like, I thought we were past this. Like you can be more than like just a sex object as a singer type thing, right? Like there's so many female leads out there, like Ginger, for instance, where they don't do that shit and they fucking crush it. Like,
yeah, but
it's a different style of music, I guess.
Even from Milwaukee Metal Fest, we saw a few female lead vocalists. Honey Trap. She danced sexually on the microphone.
She did as well, and I did think the same thing there as well. I was like, why the fuck are we doing this? Like,
Alicia from Arch Enemy, she
does
dances
she?
sexually.
Yes. I don't remember that. All right.
So I mean, so when I saw that when we saw Arch Enemy a few weeks ago. And she's wearing like a tight lead.
Yeah, like a
leopard
one suit thing.
Yeah. And I thought the same exact thing when we saw her a few weeks ago here in Chicago at the Vic. And I was just like, I thought the same thing. I was like, I thought we were past this. Like,
yeah.
Granted, if you like wearing something like that, if you like moving
sure,
like that, cool.
Yes.
But wear a fucking band shirt and jeans. Like, you don't need to wear something that's sexual and dance sexual and all that stuff.
So my mind thought when that was going on during the show, I was going more back towards like Brat. Okay. And how you didn't like her performance and like she's up there dancing and she's in like this poppy sort of outfit and whatnot. And I was telling you like, no, I think it's more of a joke on pop music, but it also can be more of a joke on this sort of
sexualized dancing or like female.
Yeah. Like you like sexualizing the female lead. Like you have to be this pretty blonde face type thing. Right.
It could be.
And again, like to me, that was just more like, all right, cool. You're a good voice and you're a generic sounding band. So you're here now to like sell shit. Also though, she was an actor.
Oh, was she?
She was Cindy Lou Who.
Oh, really?
In How the Grinch Stole, the Jim Carrey Grinch movie.
Oh, interesting.
I did not know that until I looked that up as well.
But what you were saying about like the generic female voice, you know, like all that stuff. I think that's why a lot of female vocalists I'm not a huge fan of, is because all of them have a similar type of melodic voice. Now, if you're a female vocalist like Ginger or Alicia or, sorry, I'm blanking on her name from Enthos, but like they can do like the growls and everything, fucking amazing. But if you're just singing, not my thing.
And again, if we mispronounced the name Taylor, sorry. I'm really bad at pronunciation, and I say a name wrong, I stick with it. So
yeah, we might have
misspelled a few names or misspoke a few names.
Everybody's name may be wrong in this.
Really fucking bad with names,
yeah.
And just the English language as a whole for me.
We're really just starting in the last couple episodes of looking up people's name and not just being like her.
Yeah, we need to get better at that. We definitely do for sure. All in all, though, like I said, it was a good performance.
Yeah.
I liked their performance. I liked their sound. It just wasn't something new. It's something I've heard over. Like, I've heard this before, and it's good, and I like it, and that's why. Like, I don't know. It's cool. It's not like making like. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I know what you're saying. Where it wasn't like it didn't grab you and be like, oh, I can't wait to see them again.
Yeah, it didn't make me think or like experience or feel anything really other than like, oh, cool, I like this song.
Yeah.
Right. Like there wasn't like that emotional connection, I guess.
Yeah. The only other thing that I remember is there was a lot of songs where she was trying to get people to clap or something to the beat. And like some people in the pit would do it, but nobody else really.
Not by us.
Not by us was doing it. I even looked out across so the floor was that pit area and then seats the rest of the floor. And I was looking across that and like people weren't really clapping. So I don't know if the engagement was really there besides the people that were up by the stage.
Yeah, and it's a normal show, right? Where you're the first opener, you're the only opener.
People aren't paying attention to you.
Yeah, and like I went down to like do some filming or get another beer or some shit halfway in the middle of their set. And I there were a lot of fucking people still in the concourse, just wandering around, hanging out, chatting, people still in the merch lines and whatnot. So I was like, there's fucking music. I mean, you can hear the music, right? Yeah. So, and again, like if you've seen them before and you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm expecting, I'm just going to go hang out here and listen to the music of my friends. That's better than sitting in your seat and chatting, right?
Exactly. Chat out in the concourse, not in your seat. But I think we're kind of unique from other people who see music, where we're like, we want to see all the bands, and other people are just like, I'm here for AC/DC.
There was one song that did stand out quite heavily for me. I re-listened to the set list today after putting it on our playlist. Let me find what it is. It was Take Me Down, like the last song on their playlist. I don't know if I've actually heard that song, but the intro to that and the drums and just everything, to me, that song did stand out compared to everything else on their set, for sure. And that was one when I was listening to it today, again, sort of in a passive capacity because I was working and whatnot. I was like, I had to stop and like, oh shit, I kind of like this. This is good. But everything else was sort of like, oh, I've heard this. It's, as I said before, something I've heard 100 times already.
Yeah. I haven't re-listened to it, but there wasn't anything that stood out to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for Pretty Reckless. I'll definitely check them out again. Maybe if they're doing a headlining tour, maybe depending on who's with them.
Yeah.
And where they're at. Yeah. Like if it's here in Chicago.
To me, it seems like I know they're probably bigger than this, but like to be at like Grant Park at a festival or something, like that'd be kind of fun. Not like a Lollapalooza or whatever, but like I'm sure they're much bigger than that. But that's the type of music I think of, is just like the music that you're passively like walking by and you stop and listen to a few songs and then you move on. It's not like something that I'm like focused on completely.
I don't know. I'd say I'd see them again, but again, it'd be like who's opening for them. Who are they opening for? If they're opening for somebody awesome, I'll definitely check that out.
Oh yeah.
But I was kind of shocked we haven't seen them before, either at like open air or some other festival, just like Hellstorm. We haven't seen Hellstorm yet, and that's another one of those bands I'm kind of like, how the fuck have we not seen them yet?
I know, yeah.
So, and again, this sort of fits in that same sort of category of Hellstorm to me. Like you've got a female lead and you have sort of a generic sound.
Very generic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Hellstorm has a few songs that I know just on the radio, but other than that, it's like just generic radio music.
Yeah. I don't dislike it. I do enjoy it. I don't want it to come off as like, I hate this. I don't. I really enjoy the music. It's just, it's not what I'm going to gravitate towards or grab.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's how we always come off when we say like something about like 3 Days Grace or Chevelle or Shinedown or whatever. It's like, we're not saying like it's bad that they're radio music, but
I prefer heavier metal over that, but I also do like that for like a palate cleanser, right? Like I think we've used that before. Yeah. In any case, moving on to AC/DC. Why don't you read off their set list for us?
Sure. They started with If You Want Blood, You've Got It, Back in Black, Demon Fire, Shot Down in Flames, Thunderstruck, Have a Drink on Me, Hell's Bells, Shot in the Dark, Stiff Upper Lip, Highway to Hell, Shoot to Thrill, Sin City, Rock and Roll Train, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, High Voltage, Riff Raff, You Shook Me All Night Long, Whole Lotta Rosie, and then they ended their main set with Let There Be Rock, and then their encore was TNT, and For Those About to Rock, We Salute You.
Pretty good long set for 21 songs. Yeah. I was going to say real quick with Pretty Reckless, we didn't mention this, it was 9 songs total. They played for about an hour.
Yeah, I think it was about an hour.
A decent number of crowd interactions in there, which I helped think stretch it on. I thought they played a lot more songs than 9. AC/DC played a lot of fucking songs, 21.
Yeah. I thought that AC/DC would do kind of like a break in the middle, like a
part
really? 1, part 2, not part 1, part 2,
like an intermission though.
Intermission, yeah. Just by their age, and the length of their set, like how long it was going on. I just thought that maybe they would take a break in there.
I guess I never had that thought that they would do that. Yeah.
Which is funny because the shows that you think that there's going to be an intermission, there's not.
Yeah.
And then I think, whatever.
I kind of cheated and looked up the set list. Okay. I don't like doing that, right? So a few months ago, or maybe a couple months ago now, I think on Spotify, I was just going on there to find music one night while I was working and whatnot. And they had this sort of advertisement of the Power Up Tour is kicking off. Click this playlist to listen to the AC/DC playlist. I was like, cool, AC/DC coming up. I'm going to listen to this. I text my dad like, hey, they've got this playlist up on Spotify. Check it out type thing. And I listened through it. And it was only about 21, 22 songs. I was like, this is fucking weird. I figured it'd be a lot longer.
Yeah, because like other bands that we've seen playlists for, it's like every single song that they've ever had.
So then I think I looked up their first show, which may have been that Houston one. I can't remember exactly. So my timing here is all messed up and whatnot, right? Anywho, I looked up on Setlist FM and I compared like line by line. And there was one track, I can't remember exactly where. I wanted to say a whole lot of Rosa.
Rosie?
You say Rosie, I say Rosa. I don't know. Okay. I've always said Rosa for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they say Rosa?
I don't know.
Oh.
Any case, that might have been the song that there's like one filler. That one changes particularly where you're at. So I was like, fuck, I kind of know all this. So I knew TNT was super early. I knew they were going to close on for those about to rock. We salute you.
TNT was in their encore, though. It wasn't super early.
Oh, sorry, not TNT, Thunderstruck.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
And I don't know. That was so. I didn't like that, but whatever.
Don't look up the set list.
I know. I should have listened to that. I should just stayed away from it.
Yeah.
But for those about to rock, we salute you. I've been thinking about this a lot since listening to that playlist, knowing that was going to be the final song. To me, that kind of feels like, from the name alone, like this should be the first song, not the last song.
Oh yeah.
For like
that makes sense.
We salute you. Now let's fucking get into the show type thing.
Yeah, like their openings.
But it does really, really fit for a final song as well. Yeah. Like it's a perfect ending song. But to me, it's like, this would be a great opening song as well. To like, all right, we're kicking off the show. We salute you because you're about to rock. Now we're going to fucking rock. Let's go. So I don't know. That's a weird song to me.
Because it is like, for those about to rock, we're leaving the stage.
Yes. So, we're done. Yeah. For those who are going to continue the party, we're old. We're going to fucking bed. Yeah. We can't do this anymore.
Which was kind of so I thought that they were doing like only like 6 shows or something like every weekend over a month or whatever.
Every 4 days, I think.
It is every 4 days, which I was kind of surprised because I'm like, these guys are like in their 70s. And
the last show I think of the tour, at least in the States, is tomorrow as of this recording. Okay. We're on the 27th when we record. Okay. I think it's the 28th in Cleveland, I want to say.
Okay, yeah. And we're not going to get this up for a couple weeks.
So. No, it's going to be a bit, yeah. Because I think we have another like show before this.
We have a couple shows, yeah.
Like this week will be Milwaukee Metal Fest, then Chaos and Carnage, and then maybe this. So like,
maybe I think we have one more even.
Oh, do we?
But I mean, I don't know, whatever. We could post this before that, but yeah.
Whatever. This week definitely of this recording will be Milwaukee Metal Fest. This will be either 1 week or 2 weeks or much later. Who knows? Yeah. But it will be posted at some time. Other standout songs for you or me, or other thoughts? I guess. The stage setup real quick. We talked a little bit about this. It was fucking huge. They had that wall of sort of fake amps behind the drum kit, which was all the way set in the back.
Yeah, which is a negative from our seats because you could only see really one side of that.
You could only see half of that, yeah.
But you could see the drum kit and everything like that because it was in the middle of that on the ground.
But to be fair, it didn't really play in until the very end.
It did, yeah.
So you also saw a staircase going up as well. That was all the way on stage left. And they didn't utilize that at all throughout the entire thing until Let There Be Rock, I think. When Angus Young was doing his solo and he went up there.
Are you sure like the backing, none of the backing guitars or bass were up there or anything?
All right, let's get into this a little bit here. So we talked about sort of that setup. We had that catwalk thing with that little stand-up thing and whatnot. The drum kit was all the way in the back as well, like we said, against these fake amps, faux amps and whatnot. It's a cool look, I get it, but you know they're fake, right? There's no sound coming out of those. Your
stepmom didn't know they were fake.
All right, not everybody knows. Yeah. We know because we've seen a lot of shows and we've heard people say like, "Oh,
and
those are fake."
It's a very common setup.
It is, yes, a very Megadeth. This is their setup, right?
Yeah.
So, anywho, next to the drum kit, you have your rhythm guitar and you have your bass, and they just fucking stood there all night. It was the 3 of them all the way in the back, and it was the Angus Young and Brian Johnson show. They walked around the stage. They interacted with the crowd.
Yep. I even asked you. I was like, "Are there only 3 people on stage?"
You did ask that, yeah.
Because like I didn't notice the other guitar or bassist for a long time, and then once you were like, "No, there's a bassist and guitarist,"
they're just back there. You just got to look.
I was like, "Oh, they're in black, just standing in the back. Like you don't really see them."
That aspect was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, get out and move. Like, do some shit."
I mean,
or bring the drum kit out further.
Yeah. I don't know the setup of AC/DC and why Brian Johnson and Angus Young are so like front focused and everybody else is back focused. But to me, like the bassist, I love watching. Yep. I mean, obviously we wouldn't be able to see that from the 400 section, but cool. Even on the screens, they weren't really showing them until.
If Brian Johnson or Angus was over by them, you got to see them.
Yeah, but otherwise you don't really see them. Sometimes you could see their guitar because they were showing like Brian Johnson and like you could see through or, the background or whatever. But yeah, they weren't really showing them at all. I don't know. I don't necessarily like bands like that where it's like, we're the front, you're the back, like stay back there sort of thing. Like, I don't know.
And I don't know if that's necessarily how it was.
Don't know
like
either.
Angus Young's brother Malcolm Young was in the band for the longest time, died in 2017. So honestly, at 2017 when he died, I was like, there's no fucking way.
Like they're not doing anything.
I'm going to see AC/DC live. And I was talking to my dad about this when he was up here too. And I was like, hey, you've seen them before, right? He's like, no, I've never seen them. I was like, how the fuck have you never seen them? Like, this is like, when I think of you in music, it's Meatloaf, Jimmy Buffett, AC/DC.
Who he's never seen Meatloaf either, we found out, which we didn't know.
Yes, exactly. So again, another band another artist I thought he had seen as well. Yeah. So it's like, this was like, I've always assumed this was like your childhood. Like, this is Metallica to me. Like, what Metallica is to me, AC/DC is. That's how I've always pictured this. So finding out that he's never seen it, I was like, holy fuck, for real? Anywho, we were talking, I was like, if you would have told me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd be seeing AC/DC, I'd be like, fuck you, you're lying. There's not a chance in hell I'm seeing this band.
I think AC/DC was always on your list of like never gonna see sort of thing. Like what do we call that? Like hope to see but won't see or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, I definitely thought that the same thing.
So when they announced the tour, I was like, holy shit, we're definitely going. Yeah. And that's when I messaged my dad, like, do you want to go?
We're buying tickets right now, so do you want to go?
Right. Just let us know. We'll get tickets.
Yeah.
All that shit. And yeah. So I don't know. I was kind of fun to see that. But yeah, after Malcolm's death, I was like, there's no way we're going to see this.
Didn't think anything was going to happen.
They're at Wrigley in 2015, I want to say.
Oh, were they really?
They were.
Oh.
I remember that because there was a baseball game we were watching. We were really, really big Cubs fans back then, like watching all of the games because the Ricketts hadn't fucked up the team by that point.
Right. They were really good too.
They were really good. That's whatever.
Yeah, I know what you were trying to say. Yeah.
In any case, there was like a game where there was a bloop or a line drive hit out into like center field or something, and it took a weird bounce. And I was talking to my friend at work who had season tickets at the time, who still has season tickets, about that. And he's like, yeah, they said the AC/DC concert like fucked up the ground and caused a divot, which caused that weird bounce, which caused the Cubs to lose or some shit like that. Because we were talking about that at work. And I was like, oh shit, that's right. AC/DC was here. That would have been a killer show to see. But no, like we weren't seeing shows back then.
We weren't really financially. 2015 was hard year.
It was
the year we moved here.
Yeah.
And then like I wasn't working, so it was hard to spend extra money.
And we weren't seeing shows anyway. We had gone through like, that was like year 8 of our 9-year hiatus of no live music.
Yeah, it was. Which now looking back on it, I'm like, we missed a lot.
We did, yeah.
But
anywho.
We're here now.
We're here now.
Which is also why when we bought 400 road tickets, we were like, at least we will be in the stadium.
Exactly.
It wasn't like, oh my God, I need to be by the stage. It was more like, this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Yep.
And you
probably, honestly.
Oh yeah. Like I don't think we're going to see them again.
But I mean, I definitely see them again if they come through, but I don't think I think you're right. Yeah.
I would go see them again too. Yeah. It was a fun rock concert. It's not like the music that I normally listen to, but it was a fun rock concert. But I don't think we're going to see them again.
No. So, anywho, getting back to the performance, I was a little upset about that as well with the guitar kit, or not the guitar, the drum kit, and the bass and the rhythm being back there. Yeah. And then just being Angus and Brian run around stage and do stuff. And they had a lot of energy for how old they are. You can definitely see in their faces how old they are. So that was really cool to see. But again,
it kind of makes sense because like every time I think of AC/DC, I only think of those two.
You do, yes.
Like because any photo you see or any like past videos of them performing or anything is always just them.
It's always Angus. Yeah, it's always Angus with like little. Yeah. He's got the iconic look of like that, schoolboy outfit that he's still fucking rocking in his like 70s, 80s, right? Yeah. He's got to be in his 80s.
I think he's only in his 70s.
Is he really?
I think your dad said 70s. Hold on. We're going to Google it.
I'm really bad at this age, and we always talk about this because I always say the Motley Crue guys are in their 80s, but they're only like 60s, I think, as well.
Really?
I think they're pretty young.
Are you sure?
And Metallica's in their 60s as well?
60s, yeah. I mean, Slipknot's in their 60s too. Oh, he's 70 years old.
Slipknot's in their 50s. Randy's in his 50s as well.
Yeah, 50. Oh, like Randy just turned 50 a couple years ago.
Yeah. I'm really bad with age. Yeah. I'm really fucking bad with age.
Just turned 70 this year. He's only 5'2".
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he is kind of a smaller guy. So one thing I was watching, and this could be completely wrong. I know, like I said, like there's always like the old videos of him performing this way in his entire time. But I was really watching his legs. And I think that he's counting the beat as he is hopping.
Oh, really?
Like, I was really, really watching him. And I'm like, I think that at some point he learned how to count a beat by moving his legs. And then he just put this into it as well.
Oh, that's really cool if that's how it is.
Like, I mean, you've seen other performers probably like tapping their foot or, you know, something. Well, maybe not you. You probably don't watch
Well, we were watching the Black Keys live, and the drummer is like mouthing 1, 2, 3, 4. You pointed it out to me.
Yeah, was it the Black Keys?
It was the Black Keys, yeah.
And where was that at?
We were just watching it on TV one night.
Watching it on TV. Okay, yeah.
We're going to see them this year as well, so it'll be fun if you can,
I'll have to watch
if you can see that.
Yeah, see if he's still doing that. There was something else that we watched recently. Oh, I think it was, again, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say their name wrong. Honey Trap. And I think the one guitarist all the way on the edge was counting with her
was
lips
she? Okay.
too. Yeah. Which
you got to do what you got to do. You got to
you got to do.
You count the beat. I just recently in the last 5 years discovered there was a 4 count. I did not understand that you count to 4.
Yes. And you dance to 8.
I have no fucking clue what any of this means. Sorry. This aspect of music, I don't know. I'm fucking dumb when it comes to music.
Did you play the saxophone or something?
For like a month. And even that was a shit performance. Like
that was you held the saxophone in your hands.
It was like that shit. It was not good.
Any hoodles.
Getting back to the show.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that that's what he maybe learned how to do at some point in his life, and then he just put it into a performance.
I mean, that's awesome to do. Like if this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you just go off and you do this great performance. Like it's iconic. It's an iconic performance.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just there to help him stay on track.
Yeah. And like I saw not so many people. I saw a handful of people dressed in the shorts and the jacket and like a tie and everything. Too. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like to kind of go, because I mean, we've seen like metal shows where people come in corpse paint or something like that.
The other really cool sort of costume aspect or merch item that we saw a lot of, especially when the lights went out.
Oh yeah,
were the devil horns.
The devil horns. I should have bought some for us.
Those were so cool to sit up that high and just see the red devil horns all over the place, blinking and staying on or whatnot.
And like the lights go out, like, and you're out by the lake, so there's not even like the city. At least what we could see, there's no city lights, so it's just dark. And then obviously the stage lights come on, but like it is really cool to see all the lights. I have some video of it. You might have video too.
Maybe somewhere.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is the 40th for Metallica. They had the wristbands.
Oh, the wristbands
that were like scheduled to go off, but they were like on a timer to the beat, or at a certain point in the show they would turn on.
Yeah, depending on what section you were in, you had a different wristband, so then it was like at a different time or whatever. I also like other concerts that I've seen do it, or like pop shows and stuff like that. Like they've had like things like that. So
K-pop had their like little wands.
The wands, yeah.
I want to go to a K-pop show so fucking bad.
I don't understand the wands, but I would maybe go for a little bit.
No, we'd go for all right. That's the goal. Within the next probably 2026, I want to go to a K-pop show.
Okay, we'll go to a K-pop show.
I think there was one supposed to be this year, and it sold out like instantly.
Oh.
And I was like,
I don't want to go with like that.
Oh, I do. That's the best time.
What do they do it at Talia Hall? Because I would go because Talia Hall like sold out. It's not sold out.
Yeah, sure. But I think it was like the Vic or something. It was a smaller venue. But I'd go to like, I don't know the K-pop artists, but I'd go to a K-pop like at the United Center and just.
Holy shit, that'd be a lot of people.
It'd be so much fun though. Would you buy a wand? I'd definitely buy a wand. Fuck yeah. Back to this show and the devil horns instead of wands.
Fucking 3-hour show.
No, we're only like an hour in.
Okay.
Anywho, getting to like key songs for me. Back in Black, like the Black in Black album is just one of the greatest rock albums of all time.
I have to be honest. I used to think Metallica's Black album, I always thought people were referencing Back in Black.
I'm not gonna lie, I've had that in my head, especially early on and like growing up with music and whatnot, and going through my music journey, seeing the Back in Black album cover and the Black album cover. There's a lot of times where I was like, these are the same fucking album cover, but they're not, but they are. Like it's the same design, like it's very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, an iconic fucking album. Also, that album has like, again, so many fucking great hits that this is also the album because of Iron Man. Every time I think of AC/DC or think of Iron Man, I always think of them together now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like if I think of AC/DC, the second thought in my head is Iron Man. If I think of Iron Man, the second thought is AC/DC.
Okay.
Every fucking time. And that's why when we got home from the concert,
you want to watch it
that night in the last couple of days, we've been doing nothing but watching Iron Man movies.
Except for the night after the concert, we lasted like 10 minutes.
But I got the Iron Man song I wanted to get because it's right at the beginning, Shoot the Thrill, as he jumps out of the airplane, like, fuck yeah. So that was awesome, that little thing there. Thunderstruck, I just fucking love Thunderstruck. Yeah. To me, that's a weird spot. Well, maybe not. It's early enough. Like, there's that crowd interaction where the crowd's singing, which is super fucking awesome.
I did notice with their set list, and as you go through them, but like, with their set list, it's kind of like, obviously, if you're an AC/DC fan, it's like, you know, probably the songs that are less popular, but then it's like a very popular song, like everybody knows, and then a couple less popular, and then everybody knows this song. Does that make sense?
I think for your perspective,
from my perspective, yeah. I don't know very many AC/DC songs.
I'm more of a fan than you are, so to me, it's like hit after hit after hit.
Okay, so these are just big hits
with a few, not dead tracks, but a few tracks I don't know, like Sin City. I don't really know Sin City, but Shoot the Thrill, Highway to Hell, like it's boom boom.
Yeah.
Sin City, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
But for, I think, a big fan, like if this was a Metallica show, boom, that'd be a hit for me. And even if it's like a slightly deep cut, I don't think it's that deep of a deep cut. By any means.
I know AC/DC from Metallica shows.
For those about, Long Way to the Top, if you want to rock and roll.
I didn't play.
So before the encore started, the guy behind us was like,
I heard him say a long way.
It's a long way. It's a long way. He's like cheering for it. And I kind of like shake my head. I'm like, sorry, man.
Yeah, you're not
getting that. You should have looked at the set list like me. You're not getting that song. If you want it, you got to go see a Metallica show.
Yeah.
I think they own that song now.
But then Iron Man, obviously, I know. And then I feel like back home in Iowa, they play a lot of AC/DC.
Oh, yeah. It's always on the radio for sure. Yeah. But again, it's like that Back in Black album, right?
Yeah. I remember the Have a Drink on Me song, and I don't know where I know that from.
Again, the Black Album. So I'm always listening to that. Not always, but I'll put it on every now and then.
I feel like it was at a show, though. Did somebody cover it maybe or something? I don't know. I feel like it's so. I don't know. When they started playing it, I was like, oh, I've heard this before. But it could be just like you playing it.
Yeah. Hell's Bells, they dropped the bell down from the ceiling.
And then I said,
For whom the bell tolls. Against Metallica.
I was making jokes.
Yep. Again, this is another memory growing up with my dad. Again, like one day we're in the car listening to this song and the bell starts chiming and it's bong, bong. And we're listening to it on the way home from school or some shit. He's like, do you know how many times that bell rings? I'm like, nope. Do you know how many times that bell rings?
No.
13.
Really?
It chimes 13 times. And I was like, no, it doesn't. So we restart the song. So we're listening to it on CD or some shit. Yeah. And I'm counting like 13 times. Like, oh my God, how did you know that? And he's like, that's just knowledge we had growing up as kids. Like we knew that about this. And that amazed me when I was a kid. Like, holy shit, you fucking knew that? Not only did you know it, you remembered it, but like that in my head now is stuck, right? That memory.
Yeah.
So again, there's another memory of, my dad and this particular band.
Is Shot in the Dark, is that the Shot in the Dark, It's Not Too Late?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's Bon Jovi.
Oh, is that Bon Jovi?
I think that's the song you're thinking of, the way you were singing that. Let's find out real quick. All right, yeah, definitely Bon Jovi.
Yeah, but you gave Love a Bad Name.
It's the song name, and it's Shot in the Heart, not Dark. Yeah.
So when we were in line for the pop-up shop.
Real quick, Bon Jovi's another artist I would love to see a show for. Yeah. I don't think we're going to. I think he's got some health issues and whatnot.
Oh, okay. So that's probably off the
list. But that's
another.
Like, growing up, I fucking hated that guy and his music. I was like, this is lame. This is shit.
Now you would listen to it?
Now I'm like, I wasn't as pretentious. I'm not as much of a pretentious piece of shit as I was in high school when it comes to music. And being like, that's not metal. Like, now it's like, that's music. That's a great song. I fucking like that.
Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is in the line for the pop-up shop, like I think you and your stepmom were talking about songs or artists and like albums and like all that stuff. And
she was trying to figure out like a Guns N' Roses song, which I still don't know what the fuck she was talking about. Hopefully she can remember.
I don't know. Well, I wouldn't know Guns N' Roses anyways, but I mentioned it. I was like, from how I grew up, like I don't know many of these songs. I don't know Bon Jovi songs. I don't know Prince songs. I don't know a lot of AC/DC, anything like that. Like I just wasn't allowed to listen to it, and we didn't listen to it. We listened to gospel or 90s country, and that was it. So I'm in the dark. What's the song called?
Shot in the Dark.
Oh, I was trying to make a joke, but that didn't really work. But I'm in the dark about this kind of music.
Yeah. No, you've got some ground to cover.
I do, yes. Which I remember when we first started dating, like you would play a song, I'd be like, I don't know this song.
Yeah, because it was always Metallica or Zeppelin, and eventually you learn, is it Metallica? No. Is it Zeppelin? Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I think it was just more of like you always ask the same two fucking.
Yeah, but you would listen to other music, and I would just be like, you're like, you haven't heard this? I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't know what this is. Which is now me with pop songs because I don't know very many pop songs.
Yeah, I don't know shit about pop songs. Highway to Hell is the other standout song for me.
I should have looked at the set list like you did because I went to the restroom at this time and I didn't
Oh,
hear
did you?
It. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And it's one of the songs that I would like to hear. So,
yeah. So growing up again, probably 4th or 5th grade, I was really, really into WWF back when it was WWF. Now it's WWE.
Oh, okay.
And
what's F stand for?
Federation.
And
now
E is
Entertainment.
Entertainment. Okay.
And
thank you.
Yeah. And the two big stars at the time were The Undertaker, who's been around fucking forever. He's still around. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those two fucking hated each other. They were always fighting each other and in the ring and whatnot. And they outside the ring. And they had this huge sort of pay-per-view coming up called Highway to Hell, I think is what it was. I don't think it was Hell in a Cell. I think it was Highway to Hell. And they used Highway to Hell maybe it was Hell in a Cell. I can't remember. But the Highway to Hell was the big lead up song for that. And we were young enough and we knew hell was a bad word. It was always HE double hockey sticks, right? So we were singing that song. And I think I ended up getting tickets to see WCW. And then we got tickets to see WWF in Des Moines at the time. And I think it was the lead up to this pay-per-view and they're playing the song and I'm singing it and I'm like, oh shit, I can't say this. My dad's like, hell's fine. You can say hell. Just don't do it at school, right? So that's another memory growing up as a kid, right? This song is implanted in my head for that memory. So when we went to see that WWF, I think Stone Cold drove a hearse out from like the side ring up to the rink or up to the ring or whatnot, and then like did his key move against the Undertaker, and I think he threw him in a casket in the back of the hearse because that was sort of like the Undertaker thing or whatever. The thing back then is they recorded it and then they put it all together, edited it, and then that became Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
I thought I was going to see Monday Night Raw. It was like on a Thursday night or some shit. We stayed there till like 2 in the fucking morning. It was late.
Oh my God.
It kept going and going and going.
Did they replay things since they were recording?
So the thing is, they finally edited it all together, and that particular match I went to go see that time, like all of that shit that they edited together, was on TV on Monday Night Raw. And I turned the TV on to watch it. And right as either that big moment's supposed to happen, Clinton comes on TV
to talk about it,
to apologize to America for getting blown in the Oval Office. Like, I was so fucking pissed. I didn't give a shit about politics at that time. And that made me fucking hate politics so much at that point in my life. Because like, you are ruining my fucking WWF, motherfucker.
This is obviously, I mean, we all know this wasn't during a time where you could just like restart it or like watch it. Like, it's like if you missed an episode or if you missed something, you missed it.
And not only did you miss it, this is over. Like, if you're taping this, you are now taping this.
Yeah.
You can't go back on Netflix to rewatch it the next day. It's not view it live and then on Max the next day. Bullshit. Exactly. This is one and done. It's probably, the footage is probably out there somewhere. Like,
I'm sure
there's probably a WWF streaming or WWE streaming service where it's on there that I could finally get and go watch or some shit. I don't know. I remember that. And again, Hell's Bells is at the center of that memory for me.
That's cool.
The other sort of moment that I remember a lot from this show was definitely, I think it was the very last song of the main set. So Let There Be Rock. I could be wrong here, but that was the moment where we talked about this earlier, where Angus ran around the stage, even up on top of those amps, and like sort of ran back and forth and did sort of a crowd interaction, like what side can cheer loudest type thing. It was kind of cool. Like it's a standard thing that you do at a show, right? I do feel like it went on way too long. It went on
forever.
I get that.
Because like he would kind of stop playing. I'm like, okay, cool, he's done. And then he would like do some interaction and then start playing again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, this is a long time.
Also, his guitar solo seemed not as tight. It seemed like there were a few mistakes that happened within there. Again, old age. I think if you saw him 10 years earlier or 5 years or even, 20, 30 years before that, the guitar, the solo would have been more tight, more sort of enjoyable, I want to say.
Yeah, I would say the solo was, I don't want to say generic because that's the wrong word, but I feel like we've seen other artists do guitar solos that have more technique or more, more into it. And I know we just talked about Zakk Wylde during Milwaukee Metal Fest, but like he's one that like he can do guitar solo shit that's like, I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, I can't play the guitar, but
yes,
this just seemed like he was just playing for a little bit and then crowd interaction, play for a little bit, crowd interaction, run around, play for a little bit, crowd interaction. And
give Zakk 40 more years, 30 more years, is it going to be, what's going to happen there sort of thing?
No, that could definitely be what's going to happen is if we see Zakk when we're 70 and he's 7. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but
he's got to be in his 50s, you would think.
Probably.
See how we're bad with ages. I know he started with Ozzy back in the 80s.
Was it the 80s or the 90s?
80s, I'm pretty sure.
Grant, we were fucking children in the 90s. He was 58, so never mind. Okay, so when Zakk is 80 and we're 50.
In 12 years, he's going to be the same age as, whatever.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Anywho, the point is that...
And I'm just calling Zakk out as one person. I'm not saying he's the best ever. Right. Like that.
But what I was trying to say is I do like crowd interaction. I do feel like that crowd interaction went a bit long. Yeah. It could have been shortened up a little bit.
I just and that's the only time though out of the whole thing that anybody left the stage. I mean, there was like the little brief moments, but thinking of Metallica, they always have Lars's drum solo in the middle, or they'll have Robin Kirk doing their doodle in the middle or whatever, and that's when other people or the other members of the band can leave. And I don't remember a time when they left the stage though.
It did make sense to give them a breather, and then also right after that he left the stage because I remember because we could see beside the stage and even backstage a little bit, and they'd have like the lights for him to see because they turned off the lights.
Yeah.
Because they're going into the encore.
Yeah.
So that now is in his breather as well to come out for your last 2 songs.
Yeah.
He also used the center thing, which was just sort of like the
catwalk in the center. It's like a scissor lift.
Yeah, scissor lift took him up.
Down. I mean, it was very simple.
Yeah, it just went straight up and then straight down.
They could have done so much more with that, or just not had it at all.
I was wondering if that was going to go up and somehow there's going to be like an elevated catwalk that came up or dropped down, and he'd walk across that up to behind those speakers and then take the stairs down because then that would be lowered. Like that's what I'm like. That's cool, but it just went up and down. Like, wait, that's
and not what very the fuck? High up either. Just like
that's all this was just sort of you go up, you go down. Like
kind of. So I was looking at that all night though because it was a circle and then it had 3 squares on the side of it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if like maybe all 3 like the guitars and bass are gonna stand there, and then it's gonna go up and have like Brian Johnson in the middle. Like I didn't know. I was like trying to figure out like what they could do with that. Or I was like, or is there pyro in there and then somebody's going to stand in the middle and then there's going to be pyro that goes up? No, it was literally just up.
And that's where I'm like, that's what we used the catwalk for? Was that? Yeah. Like we could have done away with this catwalk and sold more GA tickets.
Yeah.
Like,
and I had that awkward corners thing.
I don't get it. Like I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy that bit of it. But whatever. It is what it is. You're the artist. You decide that's what you want to do. Go ahead. Have fun. Another thing that we touched on earlier that we haven't actually talked at all, which I thought we'd talk a lot more about during this.
Oh, we only mentioned it once. It was fucking freezing.
The cold. It was cold as fuck. I was glad I wore my winter coat for this.
Yeah, you did. I took my coat and I had it over my legs because my legs were freezing. I had jeans on. And then I had a long sleeve shirt and a sweater on and a beanie and
I had
gloves.
my beanie, my sweater, it was fucking cold. There was even a moment I looked at it and you said something as well. In the light, there was like little speckles flying by.
I think we have like these little white bugs that are flying around all over in our neighborhood. I think that's what they were, but it looked like snow.
I thought it was snow.
Yeah.
I legit thought it was snow.
There was a couple nights ago, you were at Baroness, and I was looking out the window and I saw all those white bugs flying around, and I'm like, is this snowing? Because it was chilly that night, but not like that chilly. But I thought it was snowing too, but I think that's what it was.
I legit thought it was snow, honestly.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know,
it was cold. Though.
It was cold as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was pissed. I've been pissed about the cold for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. I've been pissed about the cold for a long ass time now. It's the end of fucking May. It should not be this cold. I'm old. I get that. I shouldn't talk about weather as much, but I'm pissed about the cold. And I was pissed here too because, again, when this was announced, I was like, this is the end of May. Yep. This is going to be perfect weather. It's going to be fucking
not
awesome.
Hot,
it's going to be
not cold.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. Because I think it was like 52 when it started, but with the wind, I'm sure it was like 40s or so. I mean, it had to be like really cold.
And even you mentioned when we bought the tickets, like, oh, that's Memorial Day. I was like, holy shit, is it? Oh, that's going to be fucking perfect. It's perfect grilling weather. Yeah. The boats are going to be out. Like, it's going to be fucking beautiful. It was cold as shit.
I feel bad because Sueños, which is a big Latin festival, Latin music festival that's at Grant Park, was also that weekend. And when we were downtown on Saturday, we saw people heading there.
Like a younger kids, a bunch of younger kids, like a Lala almost.
Or like a Lala, for Latin music. And some of those girls, what they were wearing, I'm like, I'm freezing and I'm covered from head to toe except for my face.
Well, that's because you're old and you look at kids that way now.
I don't know.
But I do the same thing. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, you complained about somebody having blue hair.
I did do that as well. I mean, you have blue hair, but this was different. This was different. Jesus Christ.
Any hoodles.
It
was really cold, and I did think this whole episode would just be like, we saw AC/DC, it was fucking cold. We saw AC/DC, they played, it was fucking cold.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, so we went to see Guns N' Roses a couple years ago at Wrigley. What I remember about that show, it was $25 for tickets in the nosebleeds.
In the 400s.
In the 400s. There were a bunch of fucking spiders. Oh, yeah. I always forget that you remember it because they're dropping on you.
Yes.
And that it was like the hottest fucking day of the year at like 120 or some shit like that.
114 with the heat index when we got there.
Yeah, it was hot as fuck. Like, I remember that show for the ticket prices and the temperature. I don't remember much about the performance.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have anything bad to say about it other than the heat. But like, to me, that show is the heat.
Yeah.
To me, this show is the cold. And the fact that I was there with my dad, right? Like, those are the two things that I'm going to remember the most from this show. You ask me a year from now to talk about this show, it's going to be those two things that I say. I won't tell you shit about the stage setup. I won't tell you shit about the Pretty Reckless. I won't tell you anything about that.
I'll forget that Pretty Reckless was there.
Yeah, it's going to be the cold. My dad was there. And then it's going to be those same stories I told earlier about Iron Man, about Hell's Bells, about Highway to Hell, right? It's going to be those stories, not necessarily this particular show, but it's going to be those things.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I had a blast. I thought this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we went.
I'm glad that we got tickets to go.
I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Oh yeah, it was a fun rock show.
It was a good rock show, yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if we were like in the pit area, because then it would just be like standing and listening to rock music, and I'm not so much into that.
There was like one woman I could see from where we were sitting.
Oh yeah, I saw her.
Who was like fucking into it and dancing her ass off the entire time.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching her like dance and whatnot.
That was fun in the pit area. She was like in the back of the square part of the pit. Yeah. The other thing that I noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but there was the security. So we've talked about this with Wrigley Field. Like when you go to see Dead & Company, you guys get seats on the field, but then you'll just kind of like stand in the back or kind of move around.
Find a spot,
Find a spot to stand. So people were doing that in the back of the field, which was fine. But there was some people who tried to do it like either on the back of the second row, or like second set of chairs.
By the pit, by the GA.
So by the GA that was happening, and then behind the second set of chairs as well, I saw it happen. And the security would immediately like shine their lights, like, no, you can't stand here, sort of thing. I kind of get it, because maybe you did buy like the last row and now you're trying to stand right behind GA. But it was something that I just noticed where I was like, oh, they're not letting people like stand anywhere.
I'm trying to think with Dead and Company. It's definitely something we do. We definitely get up and wander. We don't stay at our seats. We definitely wander around those seated floor areas and find a decent spot. And a lot of people do it. If we ever get a seat like that, you and I would definitely recommend doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know at Dead and Company if you stand, I think if you stood right behind the GA or the pit area, they'd tell you the same thing.
Okay. Like you have to go to the back.
And there's definitely certain sections that are like high traffic where they're like, you can't stand there. That has happened.
So maybe that's just normal.
It could be, but there are definitely spots that you can post up at and hang out.
Yeah.
Also, like if they tell you not to stand here, just do a big U. Walk around all the way to the other side and then back. Like just walk back and forth. Get your steps in, I guess.
Yeah, and don't just stand in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even at Disturbed, I did it because I was in the 300 section. I just stood up in the standing room only for the Blackhawks games. Like I just stood up there because I'm like, I'm not going to sit in my seat by myself.
And we did it with Guns N' Roses. We were up in that 400. When the spiders started falling, you're like, I'm done. I can't be here.
I can't sit up there now.
And we also saw like down in the 100 section, there was nobody.
Yeah.
So we wandered down that way.
Yeah.
But we were also just wandering around the venue.
We were.
And I've done that several. We have Breaking Benjamin in Iowa.
We did that,
For Daughtry.
Daughtry, yeah. I couldn't. Not that I couldn't listen to it, but I was just like, this isn't my thing.
But yeah, there's been plenty of times where we wander the venue and whatnot.
That's true.
So, but I did notice that as well.
Anyways, that was just one thing I noticed. So.
Yeah.
But did you have fun?
I had a blast. I had a lot of fun.
I wish it was warmer.
Now seen. Yes, I wish it was warmer.
I gotta mention it now because we only mentioned it 2 times.
I've finally seen a show now with both my parents, and
that's
fucking awesome. I'll remember both of these shows forever because of that moment, right?
So now, do you want to go to concerts with my parents?
No, I'm good. We can go with your aunt and your cousin and your niece, and we'll do all of that on the same time when we go to see Taylor Swift.
Probably.
I would go see Taylor Swift with them.
Will we do an episode?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah. We'd do an episode on that. It's going to be shit. Like, we're not going to enjoy it at all.
And I'm going to dress like this.
But they're going to have fun, and it's going to be so much fun watching them have fun.
Actually, I would maybe dress a little bit and, like, get, like, a black skirt, black shoe, you know, like...
You do, like, the Taylor Swift, but you do a goth version of it?
Goth version, like, all black.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Any hoodles.
That's probably never going to happen because apparently those tickets are hard as fuck to get.
They are, and they're so expensive. And we love our family so much, but
there's a price.
There's
a certain point where
we have a budget.
our love and money, like the balance there doesn't just quite work out. So
if we just had endless
$100 tickets to Taylor Swift, sure, but I don't think those ever exist.
No.
Times 4, then sure.
5. There would be 5 of us.
Well. 100 times 4 for one ticket, then times 5.
Oh.
Like, yeah, it's like $100 a ticket. I don't think those exist with Taylor Swift.
No, I don't think so.
It's going to be $400.
Oh, I see. Times 4. So it'd be like, for one ticket, it'd be $400.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Anywho, no, I had a blast. This was fucking awesome. We went to see a show with the family. That was awesome. But we were at live music. So, like, live music is awesome. You're going to have memories. You're going to have good times, bad times, whatever. But go check out live music. It's so much fun. And hopefully we'll catch you at the next show.
Bye.